I'm sure you'll all agree it's in one of the most glamorous locations in London. Am I right? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're very lucky to be here. And tonight's event is, of course, all about medical innovation and leadership, and inspiring, connecting and supporting one another to contribute to each other, to our patients, to our teams, organisations, to society, and of course to humanity.
I even have a blog called Wonky Medic. It's my thing. And while my wheelchair, or my stick, doesn't define who I am, I'm a bit more memorable than I am without it. And when I, as a doctor, speak about disability issues, people do listen, because I clearly live these issues every single day. So my advice to you is do something you're really passionate about, because if you don't love it, you won't enjoy it, and you certainly won't give it your best. And most importantly for any leader, if you don't love it, no one's going to listen to you.
But do not underestimate your ability to improve the quality of care, not just from when you qualify, but even as medical students on the wards. So I guess my final message is, if you want to be happy in your career, follow your heart. You will know what you want to do. And don't try and have a career plan. I've certainly never had a career plan. I've seen where career plans have just failed people, and they end up distressed, they end up disillusioned, and they end up disappointed. Follow your heart, and you will be happy and successful in your career if you adhere to the 4 principles that I've alluded to. And of course, read Ravina's book.
At the beginning of university, I recognised that much help was available to get into medical school, but very little to guide the process of medical school life. Which was the best stethoscope to buy? What was the best note-taking method to use? How to manage time amongst academia, family, a social life, societies, and all other commitments. And these were questions that I needed answering, but I didn't know who or where to find my answers. Acknowledging that a step-by-step guide written by my elder peers and those more knowledgeable would be an invaluable aid to me, I was inspired to produce something of value that would potentially benefit others too. A survival guide for first-year medics was written to encompass all the key components of a medical student's life, to assist in making that first step towards their career. The book covers issues such as how to prepare best for exams, time management techniques, and how to organise your student finances. So whether it be a spark of inspiration, a eureka moment, or a futuristic vision that almost seems impossible, allow that to drive you, regardless of how big or small that change may be. Allow that to drive you to innovate and advance our healthcare organisation. Let us be inspired by the evolving medical technologies, from the Da Vinci robotic cardiac surgery, or to the use of Google Glass in surgery. Let us be the innovators and visionaries of today.
That was fantastic. We're now going to move on to a Q&A session, so if you have any questions for any of our 3 speakers, are you going to take the floor? Are you coming up here, or we're pretty much running on time, so we've got up until about 7:30, and after the Q&A session we'll be enjoying some drinks and some networking. So if any of you do have any questions, then please do raise your hands and we'll get started on the Q&A.
It's excellent. It's just I teach biology at schools at school and prepare students for medicines and send them off to universities. But it's not very often I get the chance to actually see what happens afterwards and how they're progressing through their career.
It's such a formative experience. It's not just about learning all the medicine, learning all the science. It's about growing up. It's about not only becoming the doctor that you want to be, but the human being that you want to be. Getting to know a range of different people from a huge different range of backgrounds. It's a fantastic, fantastic few years. I wish I could go back and do it again. I think it's really, really great that this book exists. I kind of wish that there was a book like this when I started medical school. I started as a 26-year-old postgraduate, and I still didn't really have much of a clue in terms of how the medical school aspect worked. So I think it's fantastic that resource is there. I'm really impressed that somebody who's already trying to do a degree has got the time to write a book and put that together. That shows some incredible stamina, so I have no doubt she's going to go far.
I think it's been really stimulating because firstly we've had 3 people sharing ideas and thoughts for all very different, and that in itself is interesting. But secondly, we've had some really good questions from a young audience, and I think what it does for me as the National Medical Director gives me great confidence in the future of the NHS. No matter what the difficulties are, the intellectual capital for solving the problems of our health service lie not just in the 1.2 or 1.3 million people that work in it, but in particular in the minds and the creativity and the ambition of the young people in the NHS, for whom the future is so important. I think that book is fantastic. First of all, great credit to Ravina for doing something. She's had an idea, she's made it happen. But not only that, it's a really good idea. So I've looked at that book and I think if I were going to medical school now, I would have bought that book, and I know I would have read it from cover to cover. But the other thing is, I bet you there are a load of parents who are going to read it from cover to cover. I would say, so one thing I'd like to say to people considering going to medical school or new students in medical school, this is the most privileged job in the world. It is the most satisfying job in the world. You won't find anything better, and it's given me enormous personal satisfaction over the years. It is one of the reasons it's such a satisfying job is because it is difficult, because you have to deal with difficult problems, and because you hold such a trusted position in people's lives, and you can do relatively small things, sometimes big things, which have a very profound effect on the life not just of an individual but also of their family, and you can transform people's lives for the better.
Well, I think it went fantastically. The organisation was very good. The speakers were absolutely excellent, and we're all enjoying some refreshments and networking now. Well, I think it's one of the fantastic things about the book is it's written by a doctor in training for other doctors in training, so it's hopefully a completely unbiased from that point of view, and gives really good, honest, sincere advice from one medical student to another. So I think it's going to be incredibly useful for any medical student.
Okay, so tonight was a night of leadership and innovation. I feel when I was a first-year medical student, I think this is something I would have definitely really appreciated, and one of my things on my bucket list almost was to write a book, and I felt this is something I could contribute to and provide some of my knowledge to help others. So I think that's where my inspiration stemmed from. So the Survival Guide for First-Year Medics is a book that encompasses almost every part of a student's life. Well, that has been the aim. So that's ranging from their academia, so how to revise for topics, memory tips, how to manage their time. And then it's also focused on the non-academic, so what societies will be the most useful, how to make friends, how to cook lasagna, and how to sort out things that you may not necessarily know much about, so your finances.
what you do when you go to a bank, how to set up a debit card, and just things that I would have benefited from.
I think the book is like an amazing idea, and just seeing Ravina as a third-year medical student, and she's a fifth year, seeing someone with that much passion, with that much sort of those ideas to even write a book in fifth year is quite like inspirational for a third year. So it kind of inspires me to think about what I want to do when or even like what I can do now as a third year, because you kind of underestimate how much you can make an impact. I think coming to this event, seeing the book, you realise how much you actually can do, and seeing Ravina as well. So.